What's going on, guys? I'm shooting a little bit of a impromptu video for you. Just another shaky cam video coming at you from the truck. Shaky cam. That's why I should call my videos. I'm filming shaky cams. Anyways, so I'm taking a little bit. Oh yeah, so this video is basically like an update to the whole journey piece. So I'm taking a vacation, or at least as close to a vacation as like I know how to take. So I'm gonna just be doing my normal job for a little bit, which is, you know, my normal like 40, 50 hour a week job. But that is a vacation for me because of how much I'm normally involved in. So I'm gonna be backing away from doing the stock market for a little bit, researching and checking out investments and such. I'm gonna be backing away from that, and I'm going to be backing away from doing the studio and the podcast and YouTube a little bit, but I might still like shoot some videos like this. There's still going to be content coming out. I've delegated it to to Steve, who's going to be editing the footage and putting it up. We've got like 4 or 5 different podcasts. They're really just shows, honestly. They're going to be converted to podcasts and like put up. So the point of this video is that I want to give you guys an update of real world type stuff that goes on. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I try to leave you guys breadcrumbs, right? And you guys as in both people watching now and people who are going to check this stuff out later. I try to leave you guys breadcrumbs. And why do I do that? Because so many people say that their dreams or their goals or whatever the hell they're trying to accomplish cannot be done because of this. And they use different pieces of their lives as evidence as to why they can't get something going. Well, I'm leaving these breadcrumbs for people to find, whoever's meant to find them, to understand that obstacles can be overcome. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have some stuff that I have shared and some stuff that I have not, which has basically caused some deep emotional scarring and trauma from my past, that I deal with PTSD and, you know, some anxiety issues and, you know, whatever else. I deal with that on a daily basis. And the interesting thing that I'm learning, that once life calms down for you, is when a lot of this stuff kind of like rears its ugly head. So apparently I had become a somewhat of a workaholic, probably because that got me away from dealing with all the stuff of the past and whatnot. And I had shot a video where my arm was twitching a little bit, right? In that night where I just could not sleep and I couldn't just get anything going. So continuing on, I ended up continuing to push myself, which is obviously the smart thing to do when your actual body is like flowing red flags at you, telling you to calm it down. So I ended up developing literally panic attacks just like every single day, and some version of anxiety-induced sleep apnea. Nice. Nailed it. Which basically means that I stopped breathing in the night. So I'm laughing about it now. It's really not funny. Basically, every time I would try to go to sleep, it would be like clockwork. Trying to go to sleep, I would just randomly stop breathing. I'd stop breathing in the middle of the night. That would wake me up. I'd be trying to go to sleep, fall asleep, and I would literally stop breathing when I'm right on the edge of falling asleep. So that developed. And, you know, I finally got to the point where I just realized that I have to go inside, right? I talk on this channel about going inside oneself, healing the emotional body. You know, that most of what we deal with is from the internal damages and gunk and bullshit that we've picked up along our journey in life and along whatever it is that you've dealt with. If you haven't handled these specific issues, whether it's abuse or whether it's just pain from your past or stuff that it's all that gunk that you pick up. If it is not dealt with, it can simmer beneath the surface. And the thing with simmering garbage is it comes out. It comes out in random anger. right? You know, people get mood swings. It comes out in being very destructive to oneself or to one's environment. It comes out with damaging relationships that you would otherwise never want to hurt people in. It comes out in a lot of different ways. Anxiety. So what I have decided to do is to back away from all the other endeavors of which I'm doing and make a real foundation within myself. Hold on. I'm almost getting taken out by a cop. I don't know if you guys heard that. But going within myself to try to heal the damages that I picked up along, like, especially my 20s, like my teenage years to my late 20s. My life has been very much like a movie. It's been a really good movie to watch, not necessarily to live, but in due to that, I started going to a therapist, and she's been doing this process called brain spotting. I also tried EMDR. These are both like PTSD type therapies and such. So the thing with brain spotting, she combined that with what's called journey work. Now, I'll explain what these actually are in another video, but it's almost like peeling back the layers of the emotional body and getting to the root cause of the problems of which we experience. So, for example, when you're taking anxiety medication or you're taking pills for whatever it is, or you're self-medicating, you're really just treating the symptom, right? The problem with treating the symptom is the underlying issue, the root cause, burrows deeper and gets worse. So, a week or so after that video with the arm twitch was filmed, I ended up actually in like urgent care. Here comes another cop. I'm gonna get taken out by this one too, as they try to make their way around people. And off you go. God bless, Godspeed. All right. So I ended up in a care unit because literally I had like a breakdown, and I had all the warning signs that was coming, but I kept pushing myself anyway. Again, workaholic. That's just basically how I've learned to cope with all the bullshit that went on in my past. Just become a workaholic because, depression, anxiety, all that kinds of stuff has trouble hitting a moving target. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you this is what I did. And again, just putting down breadcrumbs because I know that there's other people out there dealing with this kind of stuff and they don't talk about it. So I'm talking about it. So hopefully it inspires somebody to understand that this shit goes on and what to do about it. So I ended up in a care unit, and they prescribed for me clonazepam, which is like a anti-anxiety thing or whatever. Now, I don't want to be on shit. I don't want to be on any form of medication, but I had gotten myself so far down that hole of like nervous breakdown territory that I needed something as a crutch. Now, the difference is that a lot of people will take that and they'll rely on it. When does this light change? They'll rely on it, and that becomes a crutch of which they never actually like get by, and they're not able to ever function without that medication and such. So I started taking it. Of course, knowing me, I took half the dosage. But I took that as my final warning sign. The fact that I actually needed some form of medication just to function, I took that as my like final warning sign that I gotta get this shit together. So, I talk about building foundational wealth, and I talk about becoming successful. I talk about all that good stuff, but what I don't talk about is what is the real foundation, because the real foundation is within oneself. So what I think is that as it currently stands, let me see if I can park here. As it currently stands, I just need to focus as much as possible on getting me right internally, like on the inside. So I'm dedicating this time that I have right now to literally just working my job, which is like a vacation for me because of everything else I do, and taking care of myself, taking care of oneself, going for walks in the woods, doing a lot of meditation, going inside, listening to very calming music, doing a lot of thinking, like literally facing what has gone on in my past and feeling it. A lot of times these emotions are crying out to be felt, and they are not. Why is that? Because we live in a suppression society. You put on clothes that you don't want to wear. You go to places and you put on a facade that's not really you. You wear a mask. You do everything and anything that you can to not be genuine and not be who you actually are. And people wonder why we have all these fucking problems. Well, it's because you're absolutely stifled throughout your life, right? So, that is basically what I'm doing. This is just another leg of the journey and another obstacle to be overcome. But, you know, I know that there's a lot of people out there dealing with things. Actually deal with them. Get yourself a good therapist, not just some psychiatrist that's going to throw drugs at you and all that kinds of stuff. I'm actually almost to the point where I can get off of the clonazepam completely. Like, I've literally took the dosage at half the whole time and even cut it even more now. And I'm probably just going to stop taking it shortly because the problems are internal. I don't need to take external medicine or something external to get me, you know, feeling good or feeling balanced out. That's not necessary. You know, get yourself somebody who understands the emotional body and can peel back the layers and can work on your internal self with them, can do like spiritual healing, spirit work. I'm not so sure about Reiki. I have different views on it and such, but I know that healing the emotional body is what we don't do as a culture for the most part. And I know that that is extremely important. And what's coming up during these therapy sessions as she peels back the layers, I mean, sometime I'll get into it, but it's very amazing what specific areas of my past can be tied to where the damage was caused. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even necessarily things that I would have thought would have caused the kinds of damage of what I'm dealing with. But anyways, just giving you guys an update. There should be a lot of content coming out for this channel over the next month, 2 months. What we're basically doing is we're taking those shows, those like studio podcast kind of thing, and we're putting them together in the long versions, like, you know, the hour long or 2 hour, however long they are, for the long segments of anybody who wants to hear the entire thing of what was said and everything that was gone over. And then we're taking specific clips. But see, I delegated that as opposed to me doing all of it all the time. I delegated that, and I'm taking my vacation, which is literally I'm learning to be a normal person for a little bit and just do my job and just focus on the healing. And I think it's very important to build that foundation within oneself. And I think that that is probably something that is very forgotten about. And maybe there's people who are watching this who don't have the kinds of trauma that I have from the past, but you still have an imbalanced life because you've bought into, which I did for a time, this idea of success being you have to be working from morning till night, you have to be not seeing friends, not seeing family. I mean, if you look back far enough on this channel, I'm working during like Christmas Day or Christmas night, you know, going back a few years. I mean, a lot of us buy into this idea that we have to be workaholics to get to where we want to be. And yes, you do have to work harder than other people. Absolutely. You have to work smarter than other people. Yes. But not to the point of where you ignore your inner needs, your inner, you have your specific needs as a person, and a lot of times I think that gets highly suppressed due to just brainwashing, and a lot of places do not live like the American hustle and bustle way, and the emotional body and the inside inner game stuff, the balanced out psychology is not something that's very cultivated in this societal climate currently. However, in Eastern philosophies and in Eastern, not religions, but cultures, that is much more cultivated. The balance, the meditation, the time for oneself without the distractions, without the TV, the telephone going off, without the TV, the cell phones, the constant like vying for attention, ads and all that kinds of stuff. That stuff, shutting all of that off and just sitting within yourself, I will do a video on it eventually, like how to actually do it, but sitting within yourself and going within yourself and watching what comes up, what kinds of thoughts permeate into your consciousness, like where these thoughts come from. Some stuff's crying out just to be observed, some stuff's crying out to be dealt with, you know. And I think that getting that foundation is the next step of this journey of mine, trying to, you know, get to where I would like to get to. That sounded like I talk a lot. That sounded really good. Get to where I'm trying to get to. Nice, nice. I'm very, very articulate. Anyways, that's what I'm trying to do. I hope that that helps to guide you guys a little bit more out there and such. I'm working on getting a foundation within myself, but there should be a lot of content coming out for this channel, and hope you enjoy it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Like the video if you like it. Leave a comment. Give me any ideas about how you actually balance out. And I'll see you next time.